Deutsche Bank and UBS briefly exploring the idea of a mega merger earlier this year. German banks reporter Stephen Arons joins us now from our Frankfurt bureau. So, Stephen, it's not a surprise potentially that Deutsche Bank and other banks were looking at tying up. We knew about Commerzbank. How much of a surprise is it that UBS and Deutsche Bank might have considered getting together, that being a cross-border merger?
It is a surprise, definitely. There have been rumors. We have reported on interest at Deutsche Bank, for example. There's also been a story, you may remember, about Deutsche Bank's asset manager, DWS, potentially tying up with UBS's asset management unit. But for the two banks to actually discuss this, that's a big surprise. However, as we say in our story, this was only at a very preliminary stage. It was abandoned. They only discussed it very briefly, and it didn't happen.
Why not? How many barriers were there to something like that happening? Was it a regulation question, a price question, a valuation question?
I think it was all of the above. I'm not 100% sure what exactly the deal breaker was, but of course there are in European banking M&A, there are very big regulatory hurdles, especially when you try to do cross-border M&A. It's also the question for Deutsche Bank investors, particularly: do I really want to merge with another bank when our valuation is so low? Deutsche Bank stock is trading at an all-time low, and the price-to-book ratio, which is an important indicator, is extremely low for the bank. So that was another thing. The leadership issue: who becomes the top spot? All of those questions would have been extremely difficult to solve, and I'm pretty sure they all played a role.
It would have been a powerhouse if it had happened. $2.6 trillion in total assets. It would have surpassed BNP Paribas. I mean, it's a very attractive proposition to think big, maybe, instead of thinking small. What's Deutsche's next move? Is this fully dead in the water now?
It's a good question, and I think that's a question the leadership at Deutsche Bank are trying to answer themselves. We know, and they've said so, they are going through the investment bank right now to try to overhaul it. It has been a very a weak spot for the bank for a long time, and merging with UBS may have helped them boost the investment bank back to a sustainable level. That didn't happen, and now the overhaul is probably going to be the next step. I'm pretty sure, and Deutsche Bank executives have made indications to that effect, that they're still hoping at some point in the future that they will be able to merge with another bank, preferably outside of Germany. So UBS is probably still on the table. It's just not going to happen right now, and if it ever comes up again, we'll have to see.